It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man.
Take 3. It's all good, man. The Better Call Saul podcast. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
From our family to yours, Brian.
Oh, is that what that meant?
Yeah, that's what de nuestra familia a la suya.
For some reason, I could never read the last word.
Google Translate, bitches.
No, I mean, I would have Google translated. I just couldn't. I literally couldn't read the last word. It's like every time
I paused it when he stuck it into the ground.
Yeah, but for some reason, my stream wasn't it wasn't clear enough.
Really? Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Google Translate.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I guess you guys by now know what we're talking about. But anyway, Dave and I, we get the screener copies, and they're through like a secured website. And I think I just have so many devices in my house right now between the kids, the video game systems, the iPads, the computers, and everything, pulling so much bandwidth that the stream just isn't as clear as it could be. Mm-hmm. And I've watched it twice now, and each time I've tried to figure out what the hell that last word is, and I couldn't figure out what the last word is.
I was on that with the ice cream shop. It took me forever to figure out what the ice cream shop's called.
Yeah, I thought about writing that down too. What's it called?
I did. We'll get there.
Okay,
no,
perfect.
It's the Greek winker.
The Greek winker?
It translates to the Greek winker.
That sounds vaguely erotic.
I guess. I didn't write down the Spanish words.
Okay.
But yeah, but I couldn't figure out what that last word was. I thought it started with a C, but it starts with a G.
Oh, odd.
So yeah, the Greek winker.
All right. Episode 208. Here we go. So, opening shot, basically a guy in a truck crossing the border, but what was super impressive about it is that it was a 4.5 minute long shot, like one single camera shot.
I know. I even commented on that, how the camera follows the truck and like comes around right when it hits the gate. It's very well done, well choreographed.
Yeah, I was thinking about like how long did it take them to set that up, and I wonder if that's actually at an actual border crossing, or if that's at some some like fake border crossing they made out in the desert somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could ask the Fail Scouts that someday. Yeah,
maybe. It was pretty impressive, though. Not much happened, but I guess it kind of set the tone. But overall, it was a pretty intricate and impressive piece of footage, though. That was really, really well done.
Yeah, and I was wondering, do they really have like the vendors with the popcorn on the sticks at the Mexican border? Like,
yeah, well,
on your way out of the country, they're going to sell you stuff on the way out.
Yeah, but also you got to remember there's a lot of truckers re-entering the United States who have hauled stuff back and forth.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. But I just find it odd that they would allow you to sell some food on the way into the country. You can't even leave California with freaking produce.
Yeah, I guess that's a good...
Or I mean, I had that in Canada. Coming back to America from Canada, They went through our food. So it's just kind of weird they would sell food on the way into the country.
If you're in the desert and if you got a long wait, what if there's like a long backup at the station, for a snack? I don't know. I
would buy that if he wasn't 2 cars back from the from the gate.
Yeah, okay.
If he was farther down the line, I could see that, hey, you're waiting, eat this bag of popcorn while you're waiting.
All right.
And then take this Mexican in the back of your truck.
Fair enough. I really like the music choice. I don't know what the piece of music was for it, but it was a great music choice.
There was some good music throughout this episode, I feel. It's like getting funkier, or this music was more reminiscent of the vibe when Jimmy started becoming flamboyant, trying to get fired.
Yeah, gotcha. So basically, it was a whole 4-minute shot to show that the guy driving the truck was innocent, and he likes to steal popsicles from his own company. That's pretty much what I got out of that.
Well, what I got out of it was whatever he's hauling is fine, but him taking the popsicle it's not about the popsicle. Like, it's a cover up for something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't care about the product. He's not really shipping product. He's just trying to get into the country for something.
Right, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I get that too. For a minute there, I thought that the tubs of ice cream, I guess, they looked a lot like the tubs of, I don't know. Well, no, I guess they didn't think about it, but like maybe like the tubs of chicken grease or something. It was some sort of hint, but no, it was just frozen
No, it was
goods,
a mango.
Dave.
Mango popsicle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I like
Then
how the cop hops on the side of the car or on the side of the truck too and rides along.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, I want that job.
Yeah, pull over here, pull into this warehouse.
Yep. Okay, so then after 4.5 minutes, the camera finally breaks. Like the scene finally breaks, and it shows like the close up of a bug, which I don't know if that has some sort of insignificance or it's just saying like, okay, like this big scene is over now, like moving on. And then
I think it's showing that they're away from the border at this point.
Yep. And then basically the truck stops in the middle of the desert. He gets out. He pulls his gun, sticks his popsicle stick in the ground. And my wife was like, what's the point of that? And I'm like, well, obviously just to show that he's done this several times before.
Yeah, he's done it 21 times.
You counted? That's awesome.
I counted. I was trying to do my Herbert impression too. Counted all my popsicles. But I like how he's exactly one popsicle's length away. Like that's how he knows he's there is when he finishes his popsicle, he pulls over.
Oh, good call. Good call. I didn't even put that together. But yeah, that'd be a good timing device, I guess. God, nice.
Yeah. As long as you don't encounter the owl from the Tootsie Roll commercials.
Right. But these are popsicles. Not lollipops.
Yeah, it was a bad joke. I was stretching.
I saw where you were going with it, though. I saw where you were going with it. And it's my favorite opening, the Tyrantula. Tyrantula, Doug. For those of you that haven't heard, last year when this episode appeared, we were at the Dave Cave back in his house where he's currently recording, and his brother Doug was sitting with us, and we just kept explaining the joke about how it was the Tyrantula walking on a tie, so it became the Tyrantula. So that's the genesis of that, because I know we've probably said it about 20 other times already this season. So.
I like how you said it was a Tyrantula walking on a tie.
Yeah, it's a Tyrantula. We head into the episode proper. It's Jimmy and Kim at the doghouse, which I really like the old school feel of the doghouse. If I ever go to Albuquerque, I'm definitely going to the doghouse. It combines two things that I love: hot dogs and neon animated lighting. So
I was gonna say it seemed like a very Chicago kind of hot dog joint. You know, those places are all over Chicago, and I figured they were probably eating some Chicago style dogs.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's probably what explains my affinity for for that kind of setup.
I do love me some Chicago style dogs, but this goes back to the PWOP episode where we discussed Jimmy's answer, and I was right.
Expound, please.
You said that he would weasel his way out of the situation without answering Kim's question, and they're actually celebrating him saying yes. Yeah.
You were 100% correct. I thought he'd take like the shady route, but no. Apparently he agreed to do it, and what better way to celebrate than with a hot dog? The only thing I didn't. Now it makes me want to, when I watch it on AMC. Now it makes me want to see if Jimmy put ketchup on his hot dog, because if he did, then that is some serious research error by the production team of Better Call Saul.
Oh, really? Because Chicago hot dogs are one of my favorite things to ever eat, and I put ketchup on them all the damn time.
You are a sinner. Okay, first off, what was the last week? It was the bullshit about you don't eat cold pizza, and now you put ketchup on a hot dog. What the hell is wrong with you?
I said I love cold pizza.
Oh, I thought you said it wasn't. I thought
no, and apparently I like axle grease dipped in wood chips too. But no, I love cold pizza, and if I eat a Chicago dog, no ketchup because it has tomatoes. But if I'm at a barbecue or something and you don't have the sport peppers, the celery salt, the chopped onions, and the neon green relish and mustard, I'm putting ketchup on it. Ketchup and mustard. I'm not letting French's bullshit fucking no ketchup marketing campaign affect my food decisions, buddy.
Fair enough. So pretty much they're just having this, as I understand it, they're having a discussion about how Kim should quit. She kind of says that she already wrote the letter and He's just like, you might as well just finish it, and because it's not over until you actually, put the words out there. I quit.
Right, and get on it now because it's going to be a race for Mesa Verde.
Yeah, called it. So Kim,
one question I had is she mentions going to we can go to Geronimo.
Mm-hmm.
Where the hell is that from? Is that anything from before?
I have no idea, unless you're like getting tossed out of an airplane and somebody wants to be snarky about it. I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it's a town or something that they like to visit.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll have to look it up. If anybody out there knows the reference to Geronimo, let us know. I'll send you a shirt.
There you go.
Yep. Kim's in the meeting with Howard, and he seems pretty annoyed that she's even there.
Well, he's keep it brief.
Right, yeah, but I mean,
keep it brief. He's like, what do you want? Let's get this over with. Let's just do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. He says he has a great idea why she's there. She hands him the resignation letter. He briefly scans it, and he just basically says that you're going with you're leaving us for Schweikert and Coakley.
Yeah, because he heard it through the grapevine.
Right, but then she says no. She's actually striking out on her own. Then his entire disposition changes. Like he actually seems both relieved and happy at the same time. It's like all the weight and pressure of past week events just kind of disappeared from him, and it seemed like he was genuinely happy for her.
Yeah, I like how. Well, first of all, I have to note the word happenstance. I wish that word was used more often.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Jimmy quits and you quit. It's not just happenstance, but it's smart on several counts,
right,
to partner with him but remain separate.
Right, absolutely, because he has potential, but he does like to fuck things up. So it's good that she's like you said, pooling resources, but at the same time she's keeping a little distance.
Right. And ding 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 ding. We got a little break in here. Ding 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 update from Tarantula Doug.
Just like okay.
Geronimo. He just showed me a Google Maps. Geronimo is a city northeast of Albuquerque.
Oh, thank you, Doug. It's funny. Didn't that same thing happen to the Tarantula episode of last season too? Didn't we have a live news interruption last season?
I think so. Whenever Doug's in the room when I record.
All right. Well, there you go. There's the Geronimo reference, and now nobody gets a T-shirt. So thanks a lot, guys. So it was nice to see the two characters clear the air, though.
I really like the way this scene plays out with Hamlin because he's so robotic and stiff, but it's totally, you can tell, it's starting to really seem like it's just his shell. He has to remain even, calculating, very smart, unemotional, detached kind of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of odd because they're in this, it's a pretty big deal, her leaving HHM, and he's just like, well, and we appreciate it, and good luck. Totally matter of fact.
Yeah, and he even says that he's kind of envious of her getting a fresh start because he feels that in certain ways he did not have that opportunity. He thought he was going to strike out on his own, but his dad,
the second Hamlin,
who is the second Hamlin. His dad kind of talked him into sticking with the firm, and so he did, and so he's a little bit envious of Kim for striking out on her own.
Exactly.
So it was a very nice humanizing moment for old Howard Hamlin.
Yeah, and then also as soon as she left the room, as soon as the door closed, you hear him just over the intercom, get me Mesa Verde on the phone. Right,
yeah, and then it's time to Kim hauls ass back to her office so she can call Paige from Mesa Verde. Then we see Mike. He's staking out Hector's meeting place. What was the name of the restaurant, Dave?
The Greek Winker. The English translation.
Greek Winker.
Yes. Well, there's a little cartoon next to the name of a little ice cream cone winking at you.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Greek ice cream's a thing.
Yeah, apparently.
Like Greek yogurt.
That's what I was thinking. So Mike's staking out Hector's place, and we see the truck driver from the opening, and I was a little confused. Well, I didn't know what was going on because at first I guess with the opening, I had somehow assumed that the truck driver was part of Mike's deal.
No, I thought he was part of Hector's deal.
See, I thought I thought Mike, it would be revealed that Mike brought some sort of outside guy because, they already had I guess they were already the aggressors towards Mike, right? And he took responsibility for the gun. So when I see this guy come from Mexico, stop and grab a gun, and then I see Mike pull up and he's like staking out the Greek winker. You know what I mean? I was like,
Right.
like, oh shit, Mike brought an inside guy or somebody from another cartel to come, to come extract his revenge. But no, or
No, what
apparently no, because the truck pulls up and he delivers food and such. But then after that, pretty much nothing happens except for Mike takes notes and takes a drink of his thermos.
Well, I like how, for one, he's delivering products right at closing time, but before closing time, it's like
probably one last call for
like,
alcohol.
Well, I was gonna say it's almost like, hey, all of the week's supply is here, so let's shut it down. Like, it seemed I figured he'd wait till after the place was closed to make his delivery, but then, yeah, as soon as he does his delivery, close the place down, and Hector shows up.
Yeah, and then
Mike grabs his plate. He writes down the license plate number.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the scene. Not a lot going on. It's just kind of like, oh, there's some bad guys, and we're done. So
yeah, Mike's scenes are like, they're very, very short scenes that set up to a big scene. Yeah,
it's very methodical. But I guess I was still working on the theory that was Mike's guy, and then when he drove off, I'm like, what happened? I thought somebody was going to die or something. Like, what's going on? So
my theory was that basically the whole gun thing was just he protects himself. He's running something else. He's not just running the ice cream.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll see.
People.
Kim meets with Kevin and Paige from Mesa Verde and pretty much pitches herself to be their representative and basically trying to steal them back from HHM, where she brought them to begin with. So she's attempted to take them with her.
Yeah, she's getting them the hard sell, the individual attention. You will be my only client, so you get 100% of my attention sell.
And everything seems to go okay. Everything seems to go well. She after this, she goes and meets Jimmy at their potential office. But I did like Paige, how her whole role is she doesn't say anything, but she's very good with the facial expressions and such that kind of tell the story. She's like yeah, right on, like keep going, like this is good,
right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's like, all right, my friend's doing well. Like keep it moving, keep it moving.
That is a good point, Brian. That is a good point.
Yep. Shows up, Kim shows up in a daze at the dentist office that Jimmy found to rent, which I actually thought was pretty smart. I didn't think much about it during the first viewing, but on the second viewing, I was like, that's a good point. Soundproof office. So like the dentist drilling and stuff, you can't hear the other dentist in the other office. But yeah, I could see the benefits that would have for an attorney at law. It's like, that's a pretty... The more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty damn clever choice.
And I like how it's two offices mirrored, so they still have their separate but together thing going on.
Right. I picked up on that. It was, but Kim is like kind of despondent and weird, and Jimmy asked a realtor to leave. And at first it seems like she didn't get it, but then she tells him that she thinks it went okay. And I kind of like that because I guess it was like, I guess how you could interpret that her character was just feeling like holy shit, this is happening. Like this is real now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, this is.
I was actually Tarantula Doug and I were discussing it. I thought she was going to say that it was a good thing, the nervousness and the being off, and he said that she didn't get it, and it was played out well because it left you guessing, and I turned out to be right because I like to toot my own horn.
Yeah, I like how she's like, well, they didn't say for sure that I got it, but I'm pretty sure I did because when they were leaving, like Kim gave me like the thumbs up, and it wasn't even like a regular thumbs up; it was like the double barrel thumbs up.
Yeah, double barrel.
and I do like how she did like the sound effect. She was like poof poof like that. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of a cute moment. I liked it. Chuck's waiting for Ernesto, but Howard Hamlin shows up, and he lets the Chuckster know that Mesa Verde is he's pretty sure that they're dumping HHM to go with Kim. And he seems kind of astonished for a couple reasons. But mainly, it seems like he's like really surprised that Kim can make it on her own. And then he kind of goes into he's surprised that she is leaving to work on her own and that it'll be with Jimmy. But like it seemed to me the natural reaction was like he was surprised that she could do it by herself.
I didn't really get that, honestly. I just kind of thought that he just was like, she could do it. And he's not really surprised by it. More surprised that she's going with Jimmy, but then kind of like surprised but not surprised.
Right. Like I feel like, well, I mean, a lot was dropped on him right there.
Yeah.
At the moment, you know, and like first he finds out that they might be leaving.
Which is a great way for me to put my next joke. The episode's called Fifi. Fifi was a B-29 bomber, and bombs are being dropped all over the place in this episode.
So lame. Okay, so about that joke, I love how you said it was a joke before you made the joke. It makes me wish we had a joke alert that happens approximately 5 seconds before any joke is made.
Joke coming. Joke coming.
So anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I guess how I feel that went down is, he was hit with a lot. So first, Howard shows up instead of Ernesto, and it's like, oh, we're losing like this big ass account we just got, and they're going with Kim, who's quitting to go, not for Schweikert and Coakley. She's quitting to go off on her own. It's like, what? And they're like, no, with your brother. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a lot to swallow at once. So that's just kind of how I took it. He's like, what? How is Kim on her own with my brother? Because he even says like the man is a Svengali. He's a Svengali.
Well, here's something that just popped into my old noggin then. Do you think that Chuck gets all sick because he spent too much time in the office, or you think that it's all this news that made him that way? Like why he reacted so bad? Because he seemed to be kind of doing fine, and they're talking about how he spent more and more time in the office and overdoing it, but he seemed fine up until all them bombs got dropped on him.
Well, I mean, I guess at his core, I mean, it could all be just stress related. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
his brother probably stresses him out.
I'm just kind of harping on this whole thing that that Chuck is reacting to things around him, but it's not electromagnetic waves, but it's stuff around him.
Yeah, I totally agree. Howie says that he's going. I keep calling him Howie, even though it's Howard. I don't think anybody is on the show.
You've always called him Howie.
Yeah, and nobody on the show does, but that's okay. Right. I'm going to stick with it. So Howie, because that's how I would call him if I was his buddy. I'd be like, Howie. So anyway, Howie, Howard, whatever, basically says that he's going to try to make like a Hail Mary pass and try to keep him and try to retain him, but he's not really sure with compliance law. It's not a strong suit, so he's actually asking for pointers. And then Chuck just kind of becomes Batman and marches out of the room and goes get his suit ready.
But not his super suit.
No,
not the foil line suit. He grabs the normal suit.
Yeah,
he wants to give off the total impression that he is not crazy.
Yeah, he that was awesome. Like he thought about it, but then he went with the normal suit, and he even said, almost exactly what you said. Yeah, the impression, they want to appear professional and not crazy.
Right. That's like the time when in Superman 2 when he lost his powers, then he went to go fight the guy and got his ass whooped.
Right. Which made me love the next scene even more because it cuts to the meeting day with the car pulling up in the alley, and then we see Chuck pacing in the office with a space blanket, but not in the suit. Everything is still on, just like he said, the lights, the phones, and all that, but he's pacing in his office with the space blanket. And then when it was go time, he dropped the blanket much like a boxer like drops their like robe right before they head out.
I was going to draw that analogy.
Yeah, it was like go time. You know what I mean? Like you got to respect that.
That's right. He's got his 50 Cent playing in the background. He's got his trainers, hyping him up.
Absolutely. And it's like you slap your face a little bit, you get pumped, you get ready to go, you get psyched, get the blood flowing. Yeah, he was ready to rock, and he was on point. I did like as he was descending the stairs, though, he was definitely descending the stairs with purpose, but I liked it. The employees that he passed all had to pause for a second and be like, what the fuck is going on? Why is he here and walking out and about amongst amongst us, and we like I didn't have to hand in my phone today.
Yeah, like they startled. The whatever.
Yep.
I was just gonna reiterate what you said.
Yeah, so they're on point. They're in the boardroom, and they kind of, I don't know if it's the old switcheroo, but it's the
undersell. It's like it's the backhanded. I don't know what you would call it. It's like a backhanded undersell, because you're like, oh yeah, this is a great option. This is a great option. I'm sure he knows, and then you're pointing out his flaws.
Yeah, you talk them up at the same time, like, oh yeah, no, that's a great idea. You should probably go with the younger, smarter, new person to the game. They'll have a lot of energy. I mean, they might not know X, Y, and Z, like we do, right? We know a lot about it, but don't worry, it's cool, like that kind of thing.
But it's not even that. Like he's not even saying she doesn't know it. He's saying she probably does know it, but in a way that makes you think that she doesn't know it. Like it's like so shady. It's so Jimmy.
So, but I mean, it wasn't completely lost what he was doing, because Kevin from Mesa Verde even says, okay, I get your point, but
right.
He goes into it, and then that's when they make the hard sell. Well, that's exactly the reason why you should stay with us. They kind of pulled back on it a little bit. So
he incepted him. He made him think it was his idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And like how he says when they're standing there watching him leave, that was pretty good. Like, well played.
Batman on top of his game.
There you go. Batman saved Gotham City, and Robin was impressed. Jimmy and the filmmaking nerds appear with an old guy on an airfield, and apparently the old guy is Fudge, which I love that nickname. It just, I don't know, something about it just made me really crack up when they're like, Fudge.
Major Theodore Fudge Talbot.
Yeah, because his wife sent him fudge on the battlefield. Is that what it was?
Something like that. He'd always get care packages of fudge.
Yeah, okay, so that's what makes Jimmy so smooth, is that he has backstories, but his backstories are so like plausibly lame that they seem uber realistic.
Right. Like my jokes.
Right. Right. Like Squat Cobbler, that's so lame and stupid, but it's just lame. It's just lame and stupid enough that it could happen, like that it's feasible. And it does kind of seem like our demographic. Like that's the sense of humor that we have around the old Northern Illinois Midwest area. Yeah, totally.
I think that's some hometown flavor.
Yep. I like
Squat Cobbler.
Fudge was apparently Jimmy defended him before, and Fudge was busted for public masturbation, which was total bullshit, mind you. And I tried to think back. If it showed Jimmy defending him. It didn't, but when he first went to the public defender's office in season 1, I'm pretty sure that one of the cases that he was going to be handed was a public masturbation case. And didn't he in Breaking Bad, like when he first met Jesse and Walt, didn't he,
Badger?
Yeah, there you go. He sits down and he just has like a stack of people from the DA's office.
Oh, when he has the wrong case.
Yeah, and he had the wrong case, and he was like, all right, you're in for public masturbation. It's like, what? No. Like, So maybe the timelines are congruent, and old Fudge was the person actually who was in trouble for public masturbation. So I like how they convinced the Air Force men to go get him water. Jimmy like chokes him or hits him in the neck or something and causes him to choke. And that's how they set up for the Air Force men to go get water. And then they kind of put their plan in place where they're actually doing like a photo shoot for a commercial. And Jimmy gives them the backstory. And I love how Fudge is, when Jimmy says one thing about incorrect about the backstory, Fudge is now indignant and corrects him that they fought the Japanese in the Pacific.
Right.
And I was like, wait, did he?
He's right. B-29s were used in the, I just watched the entire World War II in color documentary.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, the B-29s were the Pacific warfare where they were dropping bombs.
At first I was like, oh, did Fudge actually fight in the war? That's what I thought. But then I realized that the Air Force men told that entire story beforehand. And then Jimmy messed it up and he's like, no, this machine fought in the Pacific against the Japanese.
Oh, I didn't even realize that he already told that whole story.
Yeah, because the Air Force man was talking about the airplane and and its significance.
Which
So Fudge was actually listening, and Jimmy wasn't, and Fudge corrected Jimmy when he was trying to give him directions on how to pose for the commercial.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I like it. He's giving him instructions. He's like, you're a hero, not that big of a hero, but like look off, like there's eagles over there. And I do like it when the Air Forceman comes back with backup, and Jimmy's first reaction is, this isn't a problem, but it's actually they just want to take a picture with a war hero.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of figured he was coming out for a photo op, and then I was not surprised by the cheers I was not surprised by the cheese because he's not supposed to talk.
Wait, what?
When the Major Fudge says cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's not supposed to talk, but he got wrapped up in the moment, and he's just like, cheese.
Right. Yeah, so awesome. So awesome.
So I know, okay, you gave me a bunch of crap about my dropping bombs thing, but it really came in this scene because I started thinking about the B-29 bombing the Pacific, and then I was like, well, the B-29 is what dropped the atom bomb.
Oh.
And I was like, well, Kim is about to get a huge bomb dropped on her. Like, I'm not really stretching that far. That's really where I thought they kind of were they drawing,
look at you.
a little thing. Because, yeah, like, that was the biggest bomb of the show, was Kim was so excited about getting the gig, and then it got pulled out from under her. Like, that's
yeah, devastated, man.
like, literally, that was the dropping an atom bomb on her, and I started thinking about the Enola Gay, and the Enola Gay was a B-29 bomber.
Your literary correlation is on point, my friend.
Well, I just wanted to make up for my lack of Breaking Bad knowledge. I got to bring something to the table.
You're so bitter. You're so bitter about that.
No, I'm just addressing it. Just addressing it.
We see Kim's kind of bummed out. She's sitting in front of the dentist's office.
Kind of like Hiroshima after an atom bomb got dropped on it.
It's funny because we won.
And she's smoking, much like Hiroshima after we dropped an atom bomb on it.
Yeah, Kim's bummed out. Jimmy shows up, and she's now a little unsure of herself. She had something there. She was ready to go, and now she doesn't. She was all gung-ho. She had security, but that was all just like taken away from her.
Right, yeah, that was it was income. It was starting a business with a client. Right. Which is a big deal.
Absolutely, And it was a nice moment, She asked Jimmy, hey, do you still want to do this? And he just reassures her, like, yeah. First he was like, wait, like,
this
sign
changes
the lease?
nothing.
Yeah, it changes nothing. Exactly. And I could totally relate to that because when my wife and I, we have a business in Chicago, and we ran into a bunch of difficulties just because this city is the most business unfriendly city ever. But a lot of difficulties, and there was a point after spending all the time and money and moving all the way across the country to do it and getting it ready. There was I could totally relate to that because there is a time where you just kind of like sit there and you just keep getting like like obstacle after obstacle and failure, and it just keeps happening, and you're losing money and. And then there was a point where my wife said to me, she's like, am I making a mistake? Should I just go work for somebody else? And I was like, no, like this is fucking happening.
Right.
This is pretty much what I said to her. I go, look, we're a team. We got this. Like it's happening, And so like that was just as me and Chris, who's my wife, as me and her were kind of watching that, we both just kind of smiled at each other because it was something that we could totally relate to. Because, like, yeah, that almost that exact scenario happened to us. You start feeling the doubt and the severity of the situation. It's totally normal to reel back and be like, what the fuck are we doing? But then you just kind of have to go for it. You got to step off the ledge.
Yeah, as a freelance audio engineer, I have that conversation in the mirror every morning. I don't have another person to pick me up. I got to talk to myself.
What bullshit? I'm like your biggest fan, Dick.
You're my Kim. You're my Jimmy. You're the Jimmy to my Kim.
Exactly.
Man, you have a lot of Jims you have a lot of Kims that you're always trying to pick up.
That's okay. I'm a big guy. I can carry the weight. So we get another Mike following Hector scene. He's still following Hector, but now
I don't know why. I just thought that was really funny. Just the way you said it. Yep. So we got another Mike following Hector scene,
and this time he follows him to a warehouse, and the guy in the truck from the beginning and from earlier shows up again, and still nothing happened. But Mike's still doing research, so there's that.
Well, I mean, he's watching. The only thing I took from this is that was Hector outside smoking a cigarette, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So
exactly.
he's gonna
Okay.
get. So that's the reason he's got the oxygen mask in the wheelchair in Breaking Bad. He's got emphysema. That answers that question. And Mike is hiding literally in plain sight. Like if that, like how?
Yeah,
what?
That's exactly what I thought. It's like all Hector had to do was like look to the right or like swat a fly or even flick a cigarette in that direction, and he's going to see Mike there. Mike was not hidden at all.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of suspension of disbelief to kind of show visually, I can see you, you can't see me, but
right.
all he had to do is like look.
Like I get it. I get what they're going for. Mike is being very methodical. And he's learning patterns and what Hector wants to do because he's smart about his vengeance, right? Like it's just I mean not really much to talk about other than Mike's just garnering details, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, it's all these little scenes that you add up, and then he's gonna have a big scene later, like that altercation with Tuco and stuff like that.
Yeah. And now we're at my favorite scene of the episode. Jimmy shows up at Chuck's house. Chuck is all chucked up on the couch. Jimmy takes advantage and starts going through his paperwork. And I was like, oh, that's nice. You know what? They're at odds, but maybe Jimmy sees this as an opportunity to pay Chuck back for taping all of his shredded paper together in episode 1. But no, that's not happening at all. Pretty much he goes to Kinko's and he starts switching addresses on paperwork.
He's committing some pretty major felonies.
Yeah. He must have been really confident that Chuck was going to be asked out for a few hours because so like sometimes when something's really tedious to me, like, and I have to do it, like it's almost like my knuckles start hurting. Mm-hmm. Like, does that make sense? Like I get like this weird feeling in my hands, like, come on, man, like hurry up. Or like, oh, it's like, have you ever tried to put a pin in the, in your watch band, and you're just like, it's so tiny,
God, yes.
And like my knuckles start hurting because it's so like tedious, and I don't know, something about it. That's how I felt during this scene, just watching him like scrape the letters and like paste them with the tip of the X-Acto knife. I was just like, oh, like something about it just drove me a little crazy. But it was like, I like the scene. I like how absolutely bored the overnight printing guy was.
Right. The music. I think that music it sounds like the same band from the intro.
It very may well have been.
Dave Porter mentioned in my interview with him, you should go back and listen to that the intro song is from a band from England, and this song sounded exactly, maybe it's the same song.
Maybe it's a continuation, man.
But yeah, definitely the same band, and it's just more of the music with kind of an odd vibe to it, which I like.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it a lot, actually.
He pretty much what Jimmy's doing is he's changing the address from 1261 Rosella Drive to 1216 Rosella Drive.
Right.
On all the
which I took as A, it's going to make all these papers void.
Right.
And B, which he doesn't know this, but Chuck sold Mesa Verde on attention to detail and knowing and making sure that everything's done properly. And now there's a whole bunch of paperwork that's done improperly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it makes him look absolutely incompetent. Like, it makes him look like a dumbass. That's exactly right. Yeah. So yep. The way that whole scene was put together, man, I don't know. For some reason, ever since the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing 2, man, well, I guess that was only like last week, but for some reason, there's been like 2 really well edited montages in this one episode. You know what I mean? Or like there was the single shot truck, and then now this little montage of him messing up the paperwork at the 24 hours I guess printing place. I called it a Kinko's, but one of my employees the other day reminded me that no longer exists when I kept telling him to go to the Kinko's.
Oh.
He thought it was like a burger joint, and I'm like, no, man, the Kinko's. And he's like, well, why do I got to take this paperwork to the Kinko's? Like, do I got to like look for something? And I'm like, oh, that's right. It's like FedEx now. It's like
it's FedEx Kinko's.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. So anyway, so I don't know what the name of this particular place was. First off, I've never seen one that was open 24/7, so that was kind of nice.
Oh yeah,
but
Kinko's would be.
Would it
back
be?
in the day?
Oh, okay.
I believe Kinko's were 24.
Oh, nice. Well, either way, I just really enjoyed the whole setup of that whole shot.
And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, Jimmy making copies.
Oh.
Forging documents. Doing to the Chuckster.
Rob Schneider.
I just watched Rob's TV show on Netflix.
No, I didn't know he had a TV show.
Oh, God. His real life wife plays his wife in the show, and she's a producer, and she should probably stick to producing because she's not a good actress.
Is this like a new show? Is this like a new like Netflix show? Or is
it's a sitcom based on him. Like, he plays himself. And
oh, funny.
Like, one episode, he hires his stalker to be his assistant because his stalker knows his schedule anyway.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, now I got to look at it.
Then he quits because he can't be his assistant. He's more comfortable stalking him.
Gotcha. Okay. Now I want to watch it. That's awesome.
There's a lot of bad jokes in it.
Yeah. Eventually, Chuck wakes up, and Jimmy kind of confronts him. He says, what the fuck, man? Like, you couldn't have just let Kim have Mesa Verde. You had to go steal it back. Like, you wouldn't even had it if it wasn't for her to begin with. Mm-hmm. And kind of an odd moment, Chuck simultaneously brushes him off, but thanks him at the same time.
Well, Chuck's response, you mentioned Chuck's response that he's not stealing, he's retaining his own client.
Right, yeah, which I guess is technically true. Spoken like a true lawyer.
Right, but then Jimmy said, well, Kim brought you the client in the first place. Chicken or the egg?
Right, exactly. And Chuck just kind of brushes him off. He's like, essentially, he's just like, look, man, I got to shower, and I just not going to fight with you today.
Right,
but at the same time, thanks for looking out for me. And I know we got our issues, but if the shoe was on the other foot, like, I would do the same for you. I guess that's essentially not quite verbatim, but that's pretty much what he said.
Is that a trope? Would you consider that a trope? The whole, like, I did something shitty to you and you don't know it yet, and then you sit there and say something nice to me, and now I feel bad because you're about to.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a trope, but then I was thinking about what I feel Chuck's character is, and I was like, that's pretty goddamn insincere. He's just saying that to manipulate Jimmy. He's not saying that for any. Like, I saw it as more of a manipulative tool than it was like a diffusing tool. You know what I mean?
I saw it as more. I saw it as sincere. No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, because Jimmy's face. That's exactly why. Because Jimmy's face afterward, it was like now he was like thinking about that. Like, that held some weight with him, and he was thinking about that. But everything we know about Chuck is that he's a pretty good manipulator. So I thought Chuck was still, fuck Chuck, right? Like, he's still being a dick.
Okay,
and he's playing him like a violin,
I thought that too, and this is something Tarantula Doug and I spoke about, because I said something to that effect, and then Doug was like, well, he would do the same for Jimmy. He got him out of jail, he put him through law school, got him a job, took him to Albuquerque. Like, he was always looking out for Jimmy. And then I was like, well, then, but not now, because now he's been repeatedly saying he has no respect for Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't know that Jimmy just did all this to his documents. So that's why I took it as the whole, like, it was sincere, and now it's just one more thing that's going to get on Jimmy's conscience and make him feel bad.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Kind of like the Davis and Maine thing, where he's like, for what it's worth, you're a nice guy. Well, I think you're an asshole. It's like, damn it, I fucked up again to somebody that appreciates what I'm doing.
Okay. All right. Excellent point. All right. I like that. We'll have to see how it plays out. So then we head into the hotly debated garden hose scene, where we learn that Mike's granddaughter is familiar with fractions. And that's about it. That's what we learned.
Well, she wants to learn how to use a power tool.
Right, yeah, I guess she's not quite a big girl. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, this is the scene you and I and Billy talked about on Pop. What was the exact point of this hose? And you said it was something sinister. I said it was maybe to just water his bushes, which is the excuse that he gave.
Right.
And Billy said it was a sprinkler for Kaylee's birthday party or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of like, it led us to think we were all right at one point. But it turns out you, my friend.
Right, yeah,
Correct.
he's putting like 4-inch nails through it, and apparently is what will be some kind of maybe like a spike strip.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down. Yeah, spike strip. Or he's going to whip it at his face.
Yeah. which would be way more badass.
So he'd get medieval on his ass.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, spike strip. So I'm thinking spike strip for the truck. He's going to stop that truck and take out that guy and get through things that way.
Oh, and then like use it as to get closer access to Hector?
Yeah, I'm speculating here, but that's where I think first impression.
Right, yeah.
Because you wouldn't use 4-inch spikes for a car.
Right. That's pretty much where I was going with that too. So.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you're going to go take out Tio's car.
No. I thought he was going to take out the truck, and then something was going to, he was going to use the truck for. There was way too much setup for it to be as simple as Mike puts nails through a hose to stop Hector's car.
Yeah,
right?
like he's going to drive the truck to the drop-off point or something.
Right, because how hard would it be just to like pop the tires on Hector's car when he's parked somewhere? You know what I mean? Like there's something way more to it, and it obviously has to do with the truck, considering they spent the first 4.5 minutes of the episode filming the truck entering the country.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, Dave. So, total thoughts on episode 208 overall.
Good camera work. Really good camera work. Even like the shot where where Jimmy pulls up to Chuck's house. That little camera angle. I thought I had to mention that. And the Breaking Bad style music when he's scoping out the Greek winker. Did you notice that too?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Very reminiscent of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, as trends dictate, next episode's going to be crazy. But I don't know where to go. I honestly am not sure. Because Jimmy's talking Kim into sticking with the plan. Maybe they'll get more into that or something.
Yeah, for me, it was like, while I like the slow burn on the first viewing, it seemed like it was a little slower than I typically like. Like it was just like it ended, and I was like, oh, okay, well, there was that. It's like, cool. But like on the second viewing, I liked it a little bit more, and I appreciated like the paperwork scene a little bit more. But there's still, a decent amount of it where, like, once again, not a bad episode by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't something that made me be like, oh man, that was pretty clever or awesome. It was just kind of more like, oh, okay, so that's what happens between the drama. That's what goes on in the normal everyday life of these people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was no real.
I felt there was some pretty big stuff. I mean, Kim went through a lot this episode. She experienced the ultimate high and the ultimate low.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, started questioning. She's always been kind of questioning.
I guess for me, like I said, it wasn't a bad episode by any means, but I think out of the 8 that we've seen so far, for me personally, it was the weakest out of the 8 that we've seen so far. Like, I would rank, out of 8, it would definitely rank 8th out of the 8 that we've seen so far.
I would play 6 or 7.
Okay,
probably.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
fair enough.
It's I was expecting this. That's why I said that in preview the prior that this one's going to set up the crazy episode. So it's laying the foundation, and I'm expecting a lot of things with Mike next episode also. Since it's been so many short scenes, there's going to be a big one with Mike coming up.
Yeah, well, what do you guys think? That's me and Dave's opinion of episode 208 of Better Call Saul. Make sure to let us know what you think on our website. It's saulgoodman.com, on Facebook, on Twitter, or however you'd like to do it. Big thanks to all the people that have given us the great reviews on iTunes. Please keep that up. If you haven't done a review, do it. Thanks to the 1 or 2 people that crossed over and gave us a good review on Nothing Important. That also helps us. You can find us at nothingimportantpodcast.com, where Dave and I chat with folks that are more important and famous than we'll ever be. And of course, we'll be back here next week for episode 209, where Dave is going to see if his prediction or sources, Dave, where all that comes true, where the episode before the last episode of the season is the crazy one. Right, Dave?
That is correct.
All right, folks. So we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening. Keep spreading the word. Keep checking out Nothing Important Podcast and keep participating on Twitter. I have a small handful of t-shirts left. I think most of them are Breaking Bad, but I have a small handful of t-shirts left that I will be looking to send out because I got to get this box of shirts out of my house. Dave?
Wheelchair Dolly. I wrote that down. I wanted to mention the Wheelchair Dolly. I never did.
See you next week.
It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good, man. Hey, it's all